The Christmas period is a time to be spent with those most dear to us, our friends and family, making memories and having fun. But sometimes that can lead to too much fun. We all have that friend or family member that promises they can handle one more drink than they actually can, or the present wrapper who glides the scissors and swears they won't hurt themselves. They've done it before. Little accidents like this happen to the best of us, but from seeing the increasing amount of police cars around my local area, I wondered just how busy the emergency services were during this time of year and what sort of calls they were receiving, as I found it hard to believe that my local emergency services were tending to thousands of less than professional present wrappers. I wanted to find out what sort of accidents our emergency services were seeing too. So that's exactly what I did. In this section of the documentary, I had hoped to include some light-hearted interviews with the public, asking them to share funny incidents that had happened during their Christmas holidays. However, on Christmas Day, a more serious incident in my local town occurred, in which 2 jewellery shops had been broken into. 2 officers on the scene were assaulted. I was shocked and upset to think that this was how people that spent all year looking out for us spent their Christmas Day.
Right, we'll crack on because we're just approaching a busy period here.
Oh, no more of those. Hello, as control. How can I help?
So, myself and my colleague visited the Suffolk Constabulary headquarters to hear directly from servicemen and women what Christmas time is like for them. They revealed what it was really like to work at this point in the year and some of their personal experiences.
So we're in the Suffolk Police contact and control room. This is the environment where we take all the 909 calls and all the 101 calls for the county. And we've also got direct connections with our frontline staff through our airwave radio system, so we can take those calls, offer advice and help, try and resolve them. If we're not able to resolve them over the telephone, we're able to dispatch resources to go and help people when they need us. Our demand is very seasonal actually, and it does you can follow the curve where our peak months are in the summer. However, we do have a spike of calls, a shorter peak during the festive period. And yes, of course, the calls are different. So this time of year we see a lot of people at office parties, things like that. So it's quite a popular time for going out. So we've got those messages that we give out around the seasonal period about having a plan to get home safely, friends staying with friends, and not drinking to excess. So that hopefully keeps people safe, that advice, and reduces the chances of any alcohol related problems. But yes, this is a fairly busy period for us, one of our busiest periods in the year.
My name's Phil Quickenden. I'm the contact control room manager, so I look after the civilian staff that work in the control room.
My name's Sam. I work in the control room. I've been in there for about 4 years now. I do both sides of it. I do the call taking and the dispatching. I
joined the police 15 years ago, wanting to help people, and even in my role, step back a little bit now, I still get to do that. I still get to make sure that people, when they're in their hour of need, get the response that they deserve, and I don't think any of us lose that. I mean, we wear the Proud to Serve Suffolk lanyards, and it sounds a bit cheesy, but we all genuinely are proud of what we do. You couldn't do this job if you weren't. There's a lot of pressure involved, there's a lot of requirement on your time and on your your personality, and emotionally it's quite stressful.
The worst thing is probably missing out on family celebrations. I don't have young children, but if I did, I would imagine it's not very nice to not be with them on Christmas morning.
I've missed plenty of Christmases. This is one of the first ones in a long time that I've not been working. And it is hard. I've got a young family. I've got a 10-year-old and a 5-year-old, so I miss them opening their presents Christmas mornings on a couple of occasions. They're very good. They're very flexible. My kids are used to celebrating Christmas on Boxing Day or Christmas Eve, depending on what I'm working. But it never stops being an issue, really. You do miss your family and friends, and sitting through Christmas dinner knowing you can't have a glass of wine because you've got to go to work in the evenings. It's hard sometimes, but it's the nature of what we do, and our job is important. We have got to keep people safe, so it's a sacrifice worth making.
The best thing is coming in and working with all your colleagues. Actually, one of the ladies on my section, it's her birthday on Christmas Day, and I remember we worked an early one Christmas Day and she made us all fry up, and you come in your comfy clothes and everyone brings chocolate. Not a lot goes on the early shift, so it's actually quite nice to be with everyone, and everyone was happy, and yeah, it was good.
We get a select group of people that ring us and say Happy Christmas, and I had a call, this is going back a few years for a different police force, but I had a call from a lady who phoned up in floods of tears because her oven wasn't working, and she couldn't cook her turkey. And we were able to arrange for her to actually bring the turkey to the police station. One of our guys put it into the oven for her and cooked her turkey, and then drops it off for her at the just before lunch. So those are the kind of jobs that are really great fun. And once people have had a couple of glasses of Christmas cheer, we do get some fun phone calls, definitely.
The people that call you get a different type of caller. You either get people who are quite drunk and having arguments with their family, or you get people that really do just want to talk to someone, and actually you think if they're calling me on Christmas Day, they really do need to speak to someone, so it's not too bad being that person at the end of the phone. You
kind of find yourself in a position where you're the line between somebody killing themselves or not, and that's a very difficult situation to be in. Those are definitely the hardest calls to deal with, because you can never call, and you can never call which way it's going to go, and for somebody who is mentally ill, you can be as calm and as rational, as reasonable with them as you want to, but if they're in that position where they're not ready to listen to you, then it can be a very difficult conversation, and those calls can last for hours, literally for hours.
After our conversation, we visited the call room. I was surprised at just how calm the atmosphere was. The staff were so professional, which was comforting to know. We spoke to Reese, who had a disaster Christmas dinner, but thanks to the professional nature of the emergency services, he was able to recount this story for us today.
It was Christmas Day, and I was around the in-laws' house with my girlfriend. We just finished watching The Grinch, and they decided to cook something. It was about 7 o'clock, but I was kind of afraid to ask, what was in the food. I didn't really want to intrude. Came to when we were sitting around the table. We all started eating, and I felt like I had to eat. I couldn't just sit there and leave a full plate. I really just didn't feel like it was right, if it was polite. So I started eating. I was fine at first. Then after a while I felt it. I just collapsed. My girlfriend rushes to the phone, she dials 999, calls the emergency services. And if they weren't working on that day, I wouldn't be alive.
It was scary to know that one phone call could have changed the course of so many events and lives. As a community, we are truly lucky to have these men and women that are willing to give up their holiday season just to make sure our own is a safe and happy one. We should all raise a glass to these men and women at our Christmas dinner. But not too many glasses.
For the dark finds where